cultivate your millionaire mindset using your head and your heart, the right mindset coupled to a super healthy body. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I am David, Anthony David Hawes, and welcome to my podcast called Cultivate Your Millionaire Mindset. And I have a very special guest for all of us today. His name is Clive. I'm not going to steal his thunder. So what I'd like to do is, Clive, over to you. Please tell us about yourself, who you are, what you've done, and then your business.
Well, first of all, please steal some thunder. I always like that. Makes my head go bigger. But I am one of London's leading gold consultants. I represent an award-winning company based in London called Solomon Global. We've delivered £51 million worth of gold across the country. Our primary goal is to really provide security and independence and freedom through purchasing gold. And also, as currencies collapse, world wars, riots, cyber attacks, you name it, mobile phones and devices blowing up, it's imperative you get out the system and look at some form of shield across the negativity. And that's something we pride ourselves in providing. And that's really it. We deliver the gold to clients where they can come and see us face to face. But we've been doing extremely well because gold's been going through the roof as, turmoil and volatility increases.
Let me ask you that question. You said you've delivered it. Do you physically have the gold and you physically deliver it to your customers when they purchase it from you? Is it a physical delivery? Explain a little bit.
Yeah, that's a really good. Yeah, of course. So I don't actually turn up with 10 security guards and deliver the gold to the clients. When I first got involved in the gold industry years ago, I did find it hard in having to understand about delivering gold. Really, you deliver gold, and then yes, we deliver it in the post. The majority of it is fully insured through Royal Mail. The postman doesn't know it's gold, otherwise we'll probably put a lot of postmen into retirement. And it's not wrapped in silver foil either. But yes, we traditionally deliver it to the clients. I mean, there is some circumstance where I get it physically and I'll go and meet a client and give it to them. Or you can hold your gold in storage, through Market Amit, where the Queen actually holds her gold, based in Heathrow, Hatton Gardens. So it's not about delivery. Some people just don't want to hold physical gold. They'd rather it be in storage. But our ethos is about having your own bank in your hand. Having the full control over your assets in your hands. So that's why we're advocates of having it delivered. Where most of our competitors would tend to push people for storage because they get a portion of the fees, but we're here to give good advice, not advice just to fill our pockets.
Okay, so Clive, when I understand you correctly, I can buy gold from you and bless you, and you will physically
Thank you.
You will physically deliver it, not you personally. I like what you're doing. You use and when you're talking what, ounces or 2 ounces. So it's not like you're delivering a bar of gold. So exactly, nobody knows.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it looks like it's in a CD. I mean, gold is so dense, it's so easy to store and, to hide away. And typically we focus on 1 ounce coins in particular because they're tax free and they've been doing extremely well.
And as a private individual, because I know there's so you deal mainly in the UK. Is that your market, mainly the UK?
That's correct. But we do have a lot of international clients from back home where you are, South Africa, to European clients. We deal with a lot of the ethnic community, Indians, Pakistanis, West Africans, Ghanaians, you name it, because these countries are experiencing huge hyperinflation, to West Indians as well. We provide, but a lot of them would be based in the countries, but still be a resident of the UK. So we typically would deliver it to their house or one of their houses in the UK, or to their family in the UK if they are abroad. Because sending it abroad at the moment, it is something we can do. And sorry, I have hay fever today, but it is something we can do. But it's, it's the legislations involved, transportation, and that increases costs, and that would affect your profit margin. We want it to get to you as cheap as possible.
Is it, because I can't remember whether in South Africa we as South Africans are allowed to actually own gold. But you can own gold in a coin, but you can't own it like as in a bar of gold. Am I correct in that statement?
No, I mean anywhere in the world is legally you can own gold. If you go back to pre-1970s under USSR when it was formed, and say China under Mao, it was illegal to purchase gold. And this is where the story comes. In the 70s, gold went up 24-fold due to mass buying. Our populations have grown tenfold now, and in the 70s when it went up 24-fold, gold price. Not only did we have populations much lower, but the USSR and China was illegal to buy gold. So now that's like half the world, and they are the biggest buyers of gold now. So that's why we think we're going to see it maybe rally more than 10 or 20 fold. And at that stage, I think I should say these are my personal opinions for entertainment and educational purposes, and not the opinions of my company. Nor do we provide legal advice. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, it's important for any investor, whatever instrument you're using, is to do your homework and understand what you're getting and the costs to entry and the costs to exit. That's always
That's
important.
correct.
Whatever it
That's
is,
correct.
property,
That's
shares,
correct.
gold, whatever.
Yeah.
You've got to do homework, and you've got to be aware of what it will cost you to get into the whatever it is, and also then to exit it. Very important for
Yes.
people
Yes.
to do that.
Yeah, indeed. Now, we're one of the cheapest in the country, and also we don't charge a commission to buy, a commission to sell. There's no management fees, there's no profit splits, there's no subscription costs. I mean, the way gold works is this is why it's one of the biggest secrets to us mankind, and it's been removed from our education system. Is it's so simplistic in its nature in comparison to something like property or stocks and shares or ISAs, bonds, pensions. In essence, client will call me. They'll buy the gold, they'll pay via debit card, credit card, bank transfer. We send the gold to them. They put it under their mattress. We wait for it to go up, and then they sell it. And then that's it. I mean, how easy is that?
As simple as that. So that was my next question, because here's the interesting thing.
Yeah.
One of the careers I did, I was a forex trader, and I understand trading on the stock exchange. So that was my question. I buy gold from you. I've got an ounce of gold. I put it under my mattress. Let's just use round figures. I bought it at $100. It goes up to $150. I sell it. I now make $50.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the sort of process that you're looking at? Here's my problem with that. I paid 100. I sell it at 150, so I make $50. Great.
Yeah.
Now I
Yeah.
want to get back into gold. I'm going to have to pay 160 to buy it again. So where's the sort of
That's a really good point.
gain?
So if we go back to economics trading 101, the simplicity of trading, it's about accumulation, to accumulate as much as you can for the long term. We're not looking at making $50 here, 100 quid here, or a couple of hundred quid. We want to ride out this economic downturn for the next 3, 4, 5 years, make as much money as we can for our clients, and then get out the market. So what we can't do, because we don't have a crystal ball, although some say we do with our awards and our reviews, we've been predicting a lot of stuff correct at the moment. But it's, we're never going to get you right in at the bottom, and we're never going to get you right out at the top of the market. I mean, the whole goal would be to eat some of the cake in the middle, and leave the icing for the other guy. I don't like icing anyway. I don't know if you do, David. That
I like that analogy.
I like butter icing, though, I must say. But yeah, but the whole point, it wouldn't be to, buy at 100, sell at 150. We're looking at the market going up, 10, 20 fold, which it tends to do during hyperinflation and wars. I mean, even in the great financial crisis in 2008, I don't know if I'm sure you remember that, David, being educated, but, the gold price went up nearly threefold. Now, that was when we had unrealized losses, across the markets of like 75 billion, and that was known as the GFC, the Great Financial, Crisis. And we'd lost about 75 billion. Annualized losses are now at 900 billion. Yeah, I'll repeat that. 900. So if that was called the Great Financial Crisis, what's this one called?
Yeah,
What's the name of that giant shark? What? Because
great white,
you must know about sharks,
the
David,
great
being from
white,
your end. What's that giant prehistoric shark?
the great white.
No, there's a
Oh,
prehistoric. Well, I know they've been around for.
the mega mouth,
There's
the mega.
mega. That's the one. So it's going to be like that with this financial crash. You know what we're talking about. So yeah, but it's more of the long term.
So when I understand you, and this is important for anybody to understand it, you are not in that space like a trader, where as it goes up or goes down, you do the trading and you're making little bits all the time. So what you're saying is, and I like what you're saying. So you purchase the gold and you keep purchasing the gold. So as it goes up, your cost is going to get more and more because it's going to cost more and more. And I like, what is the term they use? You feed in. You don't buy a whole lot in one go. You feed in your amount of money. So you end up
Cost
then,
averaging. What is
that's it, averaging the price. Correct. So you average your price. So what you do is you keep buying your gold,
that's
and
correct. Yeah. So
your business model, when I understand you, it's not the short term. You're literally saying to your clients, look, you need to sit on this for 3 to 5 to however many years. It's not short term in and out. Am I correct in that, Clive?
that's correct. Yeah. So that's known as trading, which is also a level of volatility. It will also cost you because there'll be costs to buy and sell. And that's not something we do here. I mean, we're about zero risk. That's what we're pushing for. And to actually just hold the physical asset, not buy and sell it. So yeah, you are right. And that's the lowest strategy, lowest risk strategy. And it just makes so much sense. I mean, we've only just gone into recession. I mean, although we was in it a while ago,
Right.
but they just so-called announced it. I don't think the US has actually announced official recession yet, which is a madness. So, you know, once the UK just did it about a couple of months ago, the US is obviously going to do it any minute now, particularly with the war. Now, recessions we know last years, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. So that's why we give this long-term view, because as everybody pulls out of stocks and shares, property, yeah, their bonds, their equities. Where does the money go? Well, it goes to the safe haven, which is gold. So that's why we want to ride this out, get in early before those crashes happen. That way we can buy gold at, what is it, £1,900 today or $2,500 before it gets to 3,000. Because David, when your next door neighbor starts leaning over the fence, in your back garden and starts saying, "Oh, David, I can't do a South African accent. He goes, "Oh, David, have you heard about that gold stuff?" And you say, "Yeah, I've been in it for a while now." So we're trying to be ahead of the curve, which is important.
So when I understand you, what you're saying is you're saying to your clients, put your spare money or your investment money into gold and hold, because that sometimes that financial discipline is, and I've seen that with shares. When you're trading, you put your money into something and then it starts going south before it starts climbing
Yeah,
again. And that's the
that's
that's the
right.
difficult thing, is to actually say hold, because when you sell either at a win or a loss, you lock it in. You don't have the chance to sell
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So you're saying to your clients, guys, you need to have the brains, the education, and the financial discipline to hold.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, there's a book written, The Psychology of Money. Really good book. Has a white cover. We can all, the listeners can Google it, and that talks about being disciplined, because like you say, you never let emotion take over. Because when you trade, you think with your heart or your head, as you know, David. So, for
Correct.
example, if we So if we look at saying buying gold, I mean, sometimes we buy it and it will drop next week, and we might have a client say, "Oh, I thought you were the masterminds, and why has it dropped?" And it's like, hold on, we don't have a crystal ball. Just be patient. They say picking bottoms, you get smelly fingers.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But I think But I think if you're patient, you can get on board and ride out the wave. We know gold traditionally just keeps rising. It has done for the last 20 years, particularly quite aggressively. Yes, there's peaks and troughs, but if you're patient, because what it is, people don't realize it's not the gold price increasing, right? It's priced in dollars. All commodities are priced in dollars, bar gas. So it's just the dollar losing its value while gold's mooning. And because what people need to understand is I always refer back to the 1970s, Bretton Woods, when the US came off the gold standard, right? That was just one country coming off the gold standard, and gold went up 24-fold, right? This move, we believe, is going to be much greater, much bigger, because the whole world is coming off of the dollar standard. And that's why the dollar is dropping like a tart's knickers. And then we're going to see gold just have its biggest rally in history. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And I like what you're saying, that fact that you buy gold and then next week it drops. And then some of your clients are going to say exactly that. How come you don't have a crystal ball? And you say, wait a minute, we're not in this for the short term. We're not in this for a week. We're in this for 3 years, 5 years. So exactly like you say, it's going to trend. And I love that. You've got to actually take your graph and you've got to zoom out. Because when you look at the graph on a daily basis or a weekly basis, a lot of emotion, up, down, sideways, and the guys are saying, whoa, where do I go? And you say, wait, step back and look at that over the last month or the last 6 months or the last 2 years. And then as long as that trend is upward, it just means, and that's why I keep getting back to it, you've got to have your customer base that has that financial discipline. And I love it. My coach, when I was trading, said to me, as a novice trader, sometimes the best thing you can do is sit on your hands. And I said to him, what do you mean sit on your hands? He said, most novice traders overtrade. They want to get in, get out, get in, get out. And that just sounds like this. Guys, buy the gold, put it under your mattress, keep putting it under your mattress and do nothing. Wait.
Yeah, exactly. Now, and that's the strategy we've had just this year, and we're up nearly 40% in US dollars, which is a massive return, and we're not even at the end of the year yet.
Yeah.
So I just think, if people can be patient, there's an opportunity to make more money than we ever have, any of us have, because I haven't experienced 20-fold in gold, and I've been waiting 10 years for this day. And there's a lot of factors pushing it up. People got to realize that even when we had one of the biggest runs in the 70s, we didn't have any real madness around the world. I mean, we just came off a small war, the Vietnam situation, but right now we've got a war on four corners. In the 1970s, we didn't have the debt that we have today. The average Joe could, a shoe cleaner or teacher could buy a house and pay off for it for a few years. We didn't live in that consumer-based society where everyone wants the greenest lawn and the fanciest roof and the nicest driveway. So people live within their means in the 70s. Yeah, but today, don't forget debt now in comparison to the 70s, because credit cards and stuff weren't about. But debt now is at record levels. We are in a much, much worse situation. We're licking our wounds from COVID, that so-called situation, which we won't talk about. And I should have said the C word. But we are licking our wounds from that. And then, the cyber attacks that we saw the other day, riots across the world, really, immigration problems. None of that we saw in the 70s. And she flew like an eagle then. So I think we could see 20, 30-fold, which means on a 20K investment, that's nearly £500,000 if you can play this right. So like we say, just to reiterate, it's about laying the seeds now while the soil is moist. And I'm genuinely believing we're going to see a very good harvest.
So here's the question. When do you call it and who calls it to say sell? Or is it the individual customer that literally says,
yeah, that's a good
okay, now it's gone up, let's say 10, 15-fold. I now need some money to come out. Is it an individual thing or is it from your company to say, guys, now's a good time? Because, you always want to get, you're never going to get the exact bottom and the exact top. That's right. That only happens in the movies.
Yeah, that's correct. So we will guide the client on the best time, but don't forget the client's the boss. I mean, if they say they want to get out early, that's fine. We have to listen to them, or we can only guide them as consultants. Yeah.
So that's going to be obviously with your knowledge and your skill and where it's going, and your analysis and all of that. You'll say to the guys, it hasn't reached the top yet, or it hasn't reached close to the top. When you can hold,
Yeah,
so
I mean, yeah. What it is, greed takes over with a lot of clients. It's normal. I mean, in 2008, you imagine the gold price tripled, but when it doubled, I remember speaking to a lot of clients saying, "Look, I've doubled your money, right? Tax free. Let's get some chips in, yeah, because as you know, 90% of people in the casino within the first hour or so tend to be up. But, after several hours, 80% are down because we don't know when to leave. So I said to clients, look, let's book some profits. Don't sell all your gold, but we've doubled our money. Let's bank some. There's nothing wrong with. There's no such thing as a bad profit. But then you get the clients, no, no, no. I'm going to go more. I'm going to make 5 times my money and blah, blah, blah. And then, it triples or nearly triples. You call back the client and say, look, you want it to stay in there. It's nearly tripled now. Should we get some chips in? No, this is going to go higher. I know this is worse and this is worse. And then all of a sudden, 6 months later, she drops below the levels you were talking about selling. And you got the client crying, saying, I wish I listened to you. So as long as the greed doesn't take over, we're conservative, we're making intelligent, moves in which we've done analysis on. I mean, the key is when gold turns into a bear market, typically a bear market, you might see 10-20% correction. That'll be classed as, say, a bear market. Then the market's flooded with sellers and that'll be time to get out.
So I like what you're saying, because I remember when I was trading, my coach literally said, you need to have a strategy. You can't go in and just fly by the seat of your pants. And I like his strategy where he said, and let's use $100, or it's a nice thing he said. So you invest $100. When your trading has made $200, you take out 10%.
Yeah.
So when it's doubled, you take out 10%, and then you reinvest, or you keep that what's it? It'll be $200. So you take out 10%. So you keep in the $190 or $180 in the space.
Yeah, the initial investment. Yeah.
Once it doubles again, you take out 10%.
Yeah.
And I can't remember. I think it's after it's either 3 or 4 iterations, you've actually got your money back, your initial investment.
Yeah.
So then what it means is, what you are trading with is you're trading with your profits. You're not trading with your initial investment.
Yeah. So that's called a self.
Yeah. When you keep that
strategy and that logic, self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah.
Yeah. When you keep that
that's
logic,
right.
that's why it's a good, and I like that kind of thing of saying you're taking out 10%. So you are getting something out. Mm-hmm. And you are putting that. Look, you can take that money and then put it into something else. Hopefully, you don't go and blow it on lifestyle or whatever.
But we have done. We just had a situation the other day. A client had a couple of $100,000. He said, look, I need to make 50, 60 grand. I want to just make pure profit and go and buy an Aston Martin. He wanted to buy a DB9, which is one of the oldest shapes, I think designed by Tim Callum. I'm a big fan of cars. And he said, look, with this 200 grand, just make the profit for me. I'll sit on this for a couple of years. And then we did. We made the profit for him and he went and treated himself to a car. But no, what we do want to do for clients is get them to ride the gold wave, because what happens is, if you imagine the number 8 sign, okay? Now, David, if we put it on its side, what does it look like? Can you tell? Infinite sign. Okay, so the infinite sign is made up of 2 circles, if you like. Let's keep this simple. Now, if we look at the bottom of the circle and we put the gold price there, and at the top we put property prices, because we know property is expensive. We can both agree on that, and gold is cheap. Now, what you'll see throughout the wealth cycle is that gold will start rallying, and then property will start dropping. And a lot of the Jewish conglomerate, they live by this. It's called the wealth cycle. Mike Maloney, he had it on YouTube. YouTube banned it at one stage. It's so powerful. But I do urge all of the listeners and viewers to watch the Mike Maloney's wealth cycle, because it will show you property will start collapsing. So my point is that with the profits you've made in gold, you can just switch that into cheap asset classes once they collapse, such as property. You know, the stock exchange would have collapsed by then, we believe. And then that's where you build true wealth. That's where the magic is, and that's where we can help you.
I like what you're saying with that Tiffany, because as the one goes down, the other one's
That's
climbing.
right.
So take that
Yeah,
profit and buy a cheap asset, because then when
that's
it
right.
goes up again, you're smiling.
Yeah, it's simple. I mean, I'm not a genius. I'm not anyone special. Yes, I study and I know my stuff, but this is just so easy. What we're doing is nothing, special. It's been hidden from us. Your banks are not going to tell you to buy gold. Your IFA isn't, your
Not at all.
stockbroker isn't,
Not at all.
because there's no fees in it for them. And this is why it's the biggest secret. It's just such a simplistic investment that provides so much security and growth at this stage.
I like what you're saying. Clive, I really like it, and I keep getting back to this. It's that person that comes in, educate yourself, be aware of it, have a strategy, and then also have that discipline. And let's face it, discipline is important in everything we do in life. It's not just in that
Yeah, of
financial
course.
space.
Yeah. I mean, it's for us, a lot of people don't realize their money, in our view, isn't safe in banks. Whether you're in South Africa, Asia, the
Anyway,
UK, because we are going to go through possibly, well, they said they're going to initiate a bail-in, which means by law, if and when the banks go bust worldwide, they can actually steal our money, like what we saw in Cyprus and numerous other areas. And they'll convert us to digital money without your sort of hearsay. They'll just pitch you and say, oh, we're so sorry. The banks have gone bust. They're terrible, horrible people. You've lost 100K. But what we're going to do, because we're the nice government, we'll replace that with 100 grand's worth of credits. The brick coin in the UK as an example. And I
right.
tell you what, we'll top it up with another 10,000, because we like you and we know that energy prices are high. So we'll top you up another 10%. And that way you'll have more terminals to pay for your bills. Life's going to be so much easier, and all this bull crap. And all it is ultimate control. It just means for the first time in history, we will never, ever as a people be able to touch, feel, or see our money again. Or the bank will collapse like it did in Cyprus and say, you know what, guys, I tell you what, here's some shares in the bank, or here's some bonds in the bank, which are obviously going to be worthless. And we've seen this before. A lot of the listeners and viewers need to understand that if you go to the FSCS website, which is the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, and the South Africa again would have the same sort of a governing body, which is
Sure.
meant to be responsible for paying out, in the case of a bank collapse. Well, these organizations, it seems through our research, that there's no real money in there for a multiple bank collapse. And
Charming.
we know that, yeah, and a lot of people do tell us, we know if everybody went to the bank and take their money out, it's not there, partly due to fractional reserve ratio, FRR, which is where they lend money, they lend out 100% of our money now. It's not even there.
Now
And
that
that was
is
changed.
scary. That is really,
That is
really scary.
crazy. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if we look back in history, traditionally a bank should be like your piggy bank next to your bed. You put the coins in and it stays there. It doesn't get lent out, it doesn't get lent out to the toys or some next door neighbor. It stays in the bank. So what happened if we go back 40 years, they said, look, let's be greedy. Why don't we just keep 90% there and we'll play around with 10%. And then that 10%, whatever profits we have, we keep it. We won't give it back. Then that 10% went to 30. Then 5 years later went to 50. Then going back to COVID went to 100. I mean, come on, that's illegal. It was actually illegal at one stage, but they changed the rules. So there's no money there. So we are big advocates is, look to get your money out, get it in the palm of your hand, because I'm sure we've all, whatever country you're in, if you go
Sure.
to a bank and try to take out mass money, it's a freaking nightmare. They'll ask you, David, what color socks you got on, how tall
Nice.
you are last week,
What you had
what's your
for breakfast.
yeah, I like that one. I'm going to use that one. And then they'll ask you to jump upside down naked through a fire ring while they laugh. And we've all had that experience in the banks. So that's why when it's in the palm of your hand, you are the king, you are the queen, you are the master of your destiny. And also, don't forget the legacy. You're able to pass it down to the generations. I mean, like in South Africa is a really good example. I don't mean to keep bringing up your background, but it was actually within schools when I think when we used to rule the South Africans, but many in the early 1900s, it was in your blood to buy gold. Hence why you were one of the first to introduce a gold coin as a form of store of value. It's the first country, the Kruger, as you know, and you guys have. Yeah, and it's a shame because they've been a bit lazy with the illustrations because you've got Mr. Kruger on one side and the Billabong on the other. Is it Bill?
I haven't seen one. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's like a deer. It's like a deer. So, and it's never changed that design, but it was embedded within your blood, and that's changed throughout the Western world. You know, we've been told it's for crazy people and conspiracy theorists. So it's so important that we follow. You know, whoever's you're ever banking with, understand that their holding company or their central bank is buying gold. You know, they're all buying gold with your money. So why don't we follow what the big fat cats are doing? You know, and I'm telling you, I generally believe we can't go wrong.
Lovely. I like it. Clive, I like the conversation. I'd just like to ask you one question as we sort of get close to wrapping up.
Yeah.
In your world and what you've done, how has your mindset either helped or hindered you moving forward?
So I'd say in the hindered side, my mindset. I mean, we always get times in days where negativity comes in. You know, you wake up in the morning and energy levels are low. And it's something that I've always had to work against, but that's a human nature thing. You know, sometimes you're like, am I actually going to sell any gold today? And then you get 10 calls in the morning and, you know, someone wants to buy £500,000 worth. And, you know, but that's for you to what I do is one of the secrets I think of working with your brain is you name your brain because people don't realize that there's, I think, a millisecond gap of when your brain says do something and when you put it into action, whether it's talking or not. So there is a way you can talk to it and actually get it to work. So mine's called Nova. I've chosen Nova because it's my daughter's middle name, plus it's a female and a male name. And I'll say to Nova, when these negative things pop in, I'll say, thanks, Nova. Thanks for reminding me that, yes, it could be a hard day because I needed that. You know, so I appreciate you telling me. And then that the positivity comes in and then I end up having a good day. So I use that as an example.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Clive.
I hope that helps.
What you've done. And what I'd like you to do is just send me your information. So what I'm going to do in the description, I'm going to give your contact details. So anybody that wants to speak to Clive, they go directly to you. Do you have any sort of website or anything that you could just share with us now?
Yeah, of course. I mean, first of all, for the first 3 listeners that actually call us, we're going to be giving away some free gold, David. So all I'd ask is if you could state David 2024. Okay, when you do give us a call, we're going to be giving away free silver to the first 3 participants. My website is www.solomon hyphen the little line in the middle global.com. So that's solomon-global.com. You can call our UK number on 0800 368 9145, and that's 0800 368 9145. But people can also WhatsApp me. You know, if you are on international waters and you want a free call or text, you can WhatsApp me on 4407930615367, and we're going to be running that across the screen anyway within the description, so you can WhatsApp me or give me a call. And I'm just happy to help. As you know, I lecture at schools, I do radio, podcast, seminars. If people just want help, just give me a call. We don't anything from it. It's about giving, as St. Francis says.
Thank you, Clive. I like what you're saying, and please just in the WhatsApp, just give me all of that information so I can put it into the description. And on that note, I'll say to everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, stay blessed, and most importantly, peace be with you.
Yes, brilliant. Thank you for having me. Take care. Lots of love. See you later.
Clive. Bye-bye then.
Thanks for having me.
When you like what you've seen or heard and it's brought value to your life, please like, comment, subscribe, whatever platform you're on, or subscribe, like, comment, whichever it is. Please do one of the three, or ideally all three. Peace be with you.